Supernaturals had always lived in secret, and in some cases in other realms. Lucius hadn't even been sure if King still lived. But now, this was the fates rewarding him, serving up the mongrel bastard who had thought to kill him. Him. Lucius sat back at the bar stool, reached out and grabbed the young human who stank of beer and fish by the neck. The man stared at him, jerking back, his hands flying up defensively, but Lucius struck fast. He dug his fingers into the male's neck, injecting a shot of magic from his fingertips. Then he forced the man's mouth open and breathed in his energy. The man was frozen, his eyes wide with raw terror as a shudder of delight rolled through Lucius. No one noticed him or even turned their way, their attention rapt on the television. Warmth infused him as he began dragging in the energy from the young, robust human. This was prime stuff feeding him. But it was over too quickly. The male a hollow husk as Lucius dropped him to the floor with a thud. The bartender turned at the sound, someone finally noticing what he had been doing. The grizzled old man stepped forward, his wiry eyebrows slanted down. "What the hell?" Lucius jumped over the bar lightning fast and grabbed the man by the front of his shirt, throwing him at the dozens of bottles lining the back of the bar. Glass shattered under the impact, shards flying everywhere in a blast of sound. Shouts of alarm rang out, but he ignored them. "We're going to have some fun," he growled, as he lifted the stunned human up by the neck and slammed him against the bar again. This time he didn't let go. Instead, he did the same thing to him as he'd done to the young human. Another human came at him from behind, but he barely felt the bottle that smashed over his head. He just kept drinking in energy. "Oh, shit," someone murmured, fear bleeding from their pores, infusing the air. "The door won't open," someone else shouted. "Here!" Someone threw a stool at the window, but it bounced off it. He was vaguely aware of the humans trying to escape, but the sealing spell held for now. Maybe they could escape with enough time, but likely not by the time he got to them. This had been the right idea, taking them all at one place, one by one. The energy infused him, making him lightheaded and even hungrier. He now knew where King was, and he was going to hunt him down and kill him. To do that, he needed energy, and a lot of it, starting with every human in this bar. Then he'd move on to the rest of the town. Once he found King in this place called New Orleans, he would take everything from that upstart male. He was going to make him wish he'd never been born. Chapter 2. Present Day. Aurora stepped up to look at Mia's painting, nodded in approval. It was a black and white painting of the bayou, with dark shadows and various shapes creeping out of the water. One almost looked as if it could be a dragon, but with the ripples of water it just teased at it. Stunning, Mia. Absolutely stunning, and perfect use of shading. Mia was human and one of Aurora's most talented students by far. She was planning to offer to mentor her because the young woman painted with a kind of soul that touched Aurora's own. "Thank you," Mia murmured, ducking her head slightly so that her long auburn braid fell over one shoulder. She seemed to be unsure of her talent or just unused to praise. "If you have time, I'd like to talk to you after class." Her eyes widened slightly, but she nodded. "What about my painting?" Ingrid, leader of the Cheval Vampire Coven, asked a few canvases down, her tone indicating she thought it was a masterpiece. Aurora moved toward her and forced herself to smile. "Oh, my. It's very colorful. Wonderful use of all your paints." Her brain fritzed out for a moment as she wondered if that was condescending, but Ingrid beamed at her. Okay, so that was something at least. This was one of the oddest art classes she'd taught since settling in New Orleans, and with the mix of supernaturals and humans, she'd found that she had to wear kid gloves with the supernaturals more often than not. Ingrid was a powerful vampire, likely over 200 years old, and couldn't paint to save her life. It looked like a toddler had given their best effort, but Aurora would never say that, would never even let on that she thought that. "It looks like a child went..."